I'm standing in the county recorder's office when the clerk freezes mid-keystroke. Her eyes narrow at the screen, then widen slightly. She leans closer like the monitor just whispered something impossible. This property record is... She pauses, confused. Locked. The word hangs in the air between us. My parents shift beside me, my mother's perfectly manicured nails drumming the counter. My father clears his throat, that commanding sound he uses when someone isn't moving fast enough. They'd driven me here this morning with urgent voices and family duty speeches. My sister Amanda needed help. Critical help. The kind that required my $875,000 penthouse. What do you mean locked? My mother asks, voice sharp. The clerk types again, slower this time, like maybe she made a mistake. But her expression doesn't change. I mean, the property cannot be transferred. There's a restriction on the title. My father steps forward, pulling papers from his leather briefcase. We have authorization right here. The clerk reaches for them, but her eyes stay on that screen, where apparently my entire life just became untouchable. The clerk examines the documents my father slid across the counter. Her finger traces lines of text, pausing at signatures. I watch her face carefully. She's trying to stay professional, but something isn't right. These authorize the sale? She asks. My father nods firmly. Everything's in order. My daughter understands this is for family. I open my mouth, but my mother's hand touches my elbow. A warning. The clerk types something, waits, types again. Then she looks up at my father with an expression I recognize from every bureaucrat who's ever spotted a problem they didn't create but now have to handle. Sir, regardless of what these papers say, I cannot process any transaction. The system won't allow it. My mother's voice goes cold. Then override it. The clerk's head shakes slowly. I don't have that authority. This type of lock requires written authorization from the owner and verification through our legal department. She looks at me directly for the first time. Did you request this protection, miss? The question lands like a spotlight. My parents both turn toward me, waiting. Outside the building, my mother explodes before we even reach the parking lot. What did you do? She demands. Her voice carries across the concrete plaza. Other people glance over. I don't answer immediately because I'm still processing what just happened inside. My father grabs my arm, not hard but firm. Amanda is drowning. Do you understand that? Your sister is losing everything. My sister. Always my sister. Amanda appears from their car where she'd been waiting, eyes already red and wet. She's perfected the crying on command skill our mother taught her. I didn't want this, Amanda says, voice breaking. I told them not to ask you. I know you hate me. It's a performance I've seen dozens of times. The victim routine. The helpless little sister act. My mother steps between us like a mediator, but her words only go one direction. You live alone in that penthouse. Alone. While your sister can't even afford rent. Do you know how that looks? My father's jaw tightens. Family helps family. That's not negotiable. I finally find my voice. You brought me here to sell my home without asking me first. My father's expression doesn't change, but his tone drops lower, more dangerous. We're not selling it without asking. We're telling you it needs to happen. There's a difference in his mind. Telling versus asking. One implies choice. The penthouse was always meant for the family, he continues, not just you. My mother nods like he's reciting scripture. We helped you get that place. I stare at her. You didn't help me with anything. Her eyes flash. The down payment came from family money, your grandfather's estate. That's the lie they've built, the story they tell themselves to justify taking whatever they want from me. Grandfather left that money to me specifically, I say quietly. His will was clear. You got the house in Riverside, Amanda got the cabin, I got cash. My father waves his hand dismissively. Semantics. It was all family money. Which means when family needs it, you contribute. Amanda's crying intensifies. I never wanted this. I'll figure something out. But she doesn't move to leave. Doesn't tell them to stop. She just stands there, tears streaming, waiting for me to break. I close my eyes and let the memory wash over me. 7 years of overtime shifts at the hospital. Double shifts during holidays while my family celebrated without me. Every vacation day sold back for cash. Every bonus deposited immediately into savings. I bought that penthouse with money I earned, saved, and sacrificed for. Not a dollar of inheritance went toward it. I'd used grandfather's money for something else entirely, something my parents didn't know about. Something that apparently just saved me. The penthouse was my reward after years of being the responsible one, the stable one, the one who cleaned up everyone else's messes. It was supposed to be my sanctuary. My father checks his watch impatiently. We don't have time for your guilt trip. Amanda's creditors are circling. How much does she owe? I ask. My mother hesitates. That's not your concern. You're trying to sell my home. It's absolutely my concern. Amanda whispers something that sounds like 200,000, but my father speaks over her. The amount doesn't matter. What matters is you have the means to help and you're refusing. I look at my sister, really look at her. What did you spend it on, Amanda? Nobody answers my question. We stand in the parking lot, a family frozen in tension and unspoken accusations. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out, grateful for the interruption. 3 missed calls from a number labeled Attorney Property Services. My stomach tightens. I'd ignored these calls earlier, assuming they were spam or solicitation. I need to make a call, I say. My mother's hand shoots out. No. We're not done here. But I'm already walking away, pressing redial. My father shouts something about disrespect. Amanda's crying gets louder, more theatrical. The phone rings twice before a woman's crisp voice answers. Law offices of Patricia Caldwell. How may I direct your call? I'm returning a call about property services, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. 1 moment, please. Old music plays, classical piano. My parents are conferring by their car, heads close together. Amanda's watching me with an expression I can't quite read. Then the attorney's voice cuts through. Miss Wallace, thank you for calling back. We've been trying to reach you regarding your penthouse property. My heart hammers. What about it? There's been suspicious activity on your title. We need to discuss it immediately. Patricia Caldwell's voice is professional but urgent. Miss Wallace, do you remember requesting a protective title lock 6 months ago? 6 months ago, I search my memory. Then it clicks. The consultation, I breathe. After the inquiries. Exactly. You came to our office concerned about unauthorized access attempts to your property records. I recommended filing a protective lock as a precaution. I'd almost forgotten. It seemed paranoid at the time, excessive even, but I'd noticed strange mail. Questions from my family about property values, my mother asking about my mortgage details under the guise of financial advice. The lock is active, I ask. Very much so, and this morning someone attempted to initiate a transfer of your property. The system blocked it automatically and flagged our office. My blood runs cold. Who tried to initiate it? Patricia pauses. The inquiry came from someone with your last name, Wallace. I turn to look at my parents. They're still watching me, waiting. What happens now? I ask quietly. Now, Patricia says, you need to decide if you want to pursue this legally, because what they attempted constitutes fraud. Patricia continues before I can process the word fraud. The initial access attempt was 3 weeks ago. They tried to pull your property deed, tax records, and title history. Our office was notified because of the lock you'd requested. 3 weeks ago, I'd been working a particularly brutal rotation at the hospital. My mother had called twice that week, unusually chatty, asking about my schedule and whether I'd be traveling soon. They were checking if I'd notice, I say aloud. Most likely, Patricia agrees. They wanted to know the property status and whether there were any obstacles to a quick sale. My father's words echo in my head. We have authorization right here. The papers he'd shown the clerk. They forged documents, I whisper. Patricia's silence confirms it. I need to see those papers they tried to submit. Can you help with that? The recorder's office will have copies of the rejected filing. I can request them, but Miss Wallace, you should know this wasn't impulsive. Someone put significant planning into this. I watch my father check his phone, completely calm, like he's waiting for a business meeting to resume. How significant? They hired a realtor, listed your property, had buyers lined up. The world tilts slightly. I end the call with Patricia and walk back toward my parents. My legs feel unsteady, but my mind is sharp, calculating. Amanda sees me first. Her crying has stopped, replaced by nervous anticipation. Well, my mother demands. Did you fix whatever you did? I don't answer her. I look at my sister instead. Amanda, how much do you actually owe? She glances at our parents seeking permission. My father's jaw clenches. We already told you that's not relevant. 215,000, Amanda blurts out. But it's not just credit cards. My mother shoots her a warning look, but Amanda keeps talking, words rushing out like she's been holding them in too long. There are lawsuits, 3 of them, and a lien on the condo I was renting. The landlord says I destroyed the place, but I didn't. Amanda? My father's voice cuts like a blade. She stops mid-sentence. I process this information slowly. Multiple lawsuits, a lien. This isn't college debt or bad credit card choices. This is systematic financial destruction. And my name, I ask quietly. Has it been mentioned anywhere in connection with your debts? The silence that follows tells me everything. My mother recovers first, only as a potential guarantor. Nothing official. A pattern crystallizes in my mind with brutal clarity. When Amanda crashed her car at 19, I co-signed her new loan. When she couldn't make rent at 22, I covered 3 months and paid her late fees. When she lost her job at 25, I bought her groceries and paid her utilities while she figured things out. Every family crisis eventually became my financial responsibility. My parents would call it helping. I'd call it being designated the family emergency fund. You told her creditors I would pay, I say. It's not a question. My father's expression hardens. We told them family takes care of family, that you had means. You used my credit. My mother's voice goes shrill. We did no such thing. We simply mentioned you owned property. That's not illegal. But trying to sell it without my consent is. The words land like stones. My father steps closer, using his height to intimidate. You ungrateful. I hold up my hand, stopping him. I'm done defending myself. Done explaining why I'm not responsible for Amanda's choices. Done being the family's backup plan. Amanda's face crumples. Please, they're gonna take everything. I look at her, really look, and feel nothing but exhaustion. I don't argue. Don't defend. Don't explain. I simply turn and walk toward my car. My mother's voice follows me across the parking lot. Don't you dare walk away from us. But I keep walking. My father's footsteps are heavier, faster. He catches up and grabs my shoulder. I stop, not because he forced me, but because I choose to. I turn slowly and look at his hand on my shoulder until he removes it. You'll regret this, he says quietly. The thread is clear. I meet his eyes with a calm I didn't know I possessed. No, I won't. Then I get in my car and drive away. In my rearview mirror, I watch them standing in the parking lot, 3 figures growing smaller. My mother is gesturing wildly. Amanda has her phone out. My father stands perfectly still watching my car disappear. My phone starts ringing before I'm even out of the parking lot. I silence it. It rings again. Silence. Again. I turn off the ringer completely. The silence in my car feels like the first deep breath after being underwater too long. I drive home to my penthouse, the one they tried to steal, and wait. 4 days pass in unusual peace. No calls get through my blocked numbers. No unexpected visits. I work my hospital shifts and come home to my penthouse that feels safer knowing it's legally locked. Then Patricia calls. There's been another attempt, she says without preamble. This morning, same property, different approach. I set down my coffee carefully. What kind of approach? They filed a claim of adverse possession, essentially arguing they've maintained financial interest in the property and you've been unjustly excluding them. The audacity steals my breath. That's insane. It's also easily disproven, which is why the recorder's office flagged it immediately. But Miss Wallace, this triggers a legal alert in the system. It's no longer just a blocked transaction, it's now documented attempted fraud. My hands are shaking. I press them flat against my kitchen counter. What do I need to do? You need to authorize a formal legal response, a cease and desist at minimum, potentially a restraining order on property access. I think about my mother's face in that parking lot, my father's threats, Amanda's calculated tears. Do it, I say. All of it. Patricia's voice softens slightly. Are you prepared for how they'll react? I watch the city spread out below my floor-to-ceiling windows. Yes. Patricia's legal notice arrives at my parents' house by certified mail on a Tuesday morning. I know because my phone explodes with messages from Amanda's number at 9:47 a.m. I don't read them. By noon, my mother has left 4 voicemails. I delete them without listening. At 2:15 p.m., my father calls from his office line, the number I forgot to block. I answer. You've made a serious mistake, he says. His voice is controlled, which makes it more menacing. No, you made the mistake when you tried to steal my property. We're your parents. You can't file legal action against us. I just did. He's quiet for a moment. I hear paper rustling. He's reading the notice. This claims fraud, forgery. Do you understand what you're accusing us of? I'm not accusing, I'm documenting what happened. Your mother is devastated. I almost laugh. Good. Amanda is going to lose everything. The lawsuits are moving forward. She'll be bankrupt by next month. His voice drops lower, and it will be your fault. The old guilt tries to surface, that familiar weight that's pressed on me my entire life. But something has shifted. The lock on my property wasn't just legal protection, it was permission to finally say no. Amanda's bankruptcy is Amanda's responsibility, not mine. I hang up before he can respond. My mother's voicemail comes at 11:38 p.m. I'm already in bed, but my phone lights up the dark room. Against my better judgment, I listen. Her voice is different this time. Not angry, broken. Sweetheart, please. I don't understand what's happening. We're your family. We've always supported you, always been there for you. Your father is talking to attorneys. This is getting so out of hand. She pauses. I hear her breathing. Amanda tried to hurt herself today. Just scratches, nothing serious, but she's spiraling. She keeps saying you hate her, that this is all her fault. Please, just call me back. Let's talk like adults. Let's fix this before it destroys us all. The message ends. I stare at the ceiling, processing. Amanda's attempt is tactical. I've seen this pattern before. Whenever consequences appear, she finds a crisis that demands immediate attention and forgiveness. When she crashed her car, she claimed she'd been upset about a breakup and wasn't thinking clearly. When she lost her job, she said the stress made her sick. Now this. My phone buzzes. A text from Amanda's number. I'm sorry for everything. I don't want to live anymore. This is goodbye. I screenshot it and forward it to Patricia with a message. Document this manipulation. Then I silence my phone and go to sleep. Amanda calls from a number I don't recognize 2 days later. I answer by accident, thinking it's the hospital. Don't hang up, she says quickly. Please. I don't hang up. But I don't speak either. I need to tell you something, she continues. Her voice is small, younger than her 28 years. They told me this would work, Mom and Dad. They said you'd understand eventually, that you always come around when family needs you. When did they tell you this? I ask. Weeks ago, before they even hired the realtor. They showed me pictures of your penthouse and said we could sell it fast because you're never there anyway. You work so much. My chest tightens. And you thought that was okay? I thought, she trails off. I thought you'd figure it out and just say yes, like always. You always fix things. There it is, the assumption that I exist as their solution, their safety net, their eternal backup plan. I can't keep doing this, Amanda. I know, she whispers, but I don't know what else to do. The lawsuits are real, the debt is real. I made mistakes, bad ones, and now I'm drowning. For a moment I feel the old pull, the instinct to rescue. That's not my emergency, I say gently. She's quiet. Then, they're not gonna forgive you for this. I know. Neither will I. And there it is, the threat beneath the pleading. The recording I made of Amanda's call becomes relevant faster than I expected. By the weekend my uncle calls, then my aunt, then my cousin. All of them with the same script. They heard there was trouble in the family. They heard I was refusing to help Amanda in her time of need. They heard I'd filed legal action against my own parents. My mother has been working the phones, controlling the narrative. Except she doesn't know about the property lock. She doesn't know about the documented fraud attempts. She doesn't know I've been collecting evidence. I tell my uncle the truth. Calmly, factually, without emotion. I tell him about the forged documents, the attempted sale, the adverse possession claim. He goes quiet. Your mother said you were being vindictive over a family disagreement. She tried to sell my home without my permission. The silence stretches. Then he says, I need to go, and hangs up. But something has shifted. That evening, my aunt sends a text. Call me when you can. My cousin messages, is this really what happened? The narrative is cracking. My mother's carefully constructed story of the ungrateful daughter is meeting the reality of documented fraud. I don't respond to anyone. I let the truth spread on its own. Patricia calls with an update. The recorder's office has officially flagged your parents for fraudulent filing. They've been notified they cannot submit any documents related to your property without your physical presence and notarized authorization. What does that mean practically? I ask. It means they've lost any technical avenue to access your property. The system won't accept their submissions. They're blacklisted. I let that sink in. Blacklisted. Not by me, by the system itself. There's more, Patricia continues. The realtor they hired has filed a complaint. Apparently, they never told her they didn't have your authorization. She had buyers lined up, contracts ready. When everything fell through, she lost her commission and her reputation took a hit. Is she suing them? She's considering it. But that's separate from our action. I pace my living room, looking out at the city. Everything feels different now. I'm not defending myself. I'm not explaining or justifying. I'm simply standing still while the consequences of their actions catch up to them. What happens next? I ask. We wait. They can't touch the property. The legal notice makes our position clear. The next move is theirs. I think about my father's threats, my mother's manipulation. They'll retaliate somehow. Probably, Patricia agrees. But whatever they do will only strengthen your case. The call from Patricia 3 weeks later changes everything. They've made a mistake, she says. I can hear satisfaction in her voice. What kind of mistake? They submitted a formal complaint to the state real estate board, claiming I manufactured the property lock to interfere with a legitimate family transaction. That's ridiculous. It's also documented perjury, because in their complaint they swore under penalty that they had your written authorization for the sale. My heart races, but they don't. Exactly. And now they've created an official record of that claim. The board forwarded their complaint to our office as a matter of procedure. I've responded with copies of the lock request, your signature, the date, and the documented fraud attempts. I sit down slowly. What does this mean? It means they've committed fraud in writing under oath to a state regulatory body. That's a criminal matter, not just civil. The word criminal hits differently than fraud. Fraud felt abstract, technical. Criminal feels real. Will they be arrested? That depends on whether the board refers it to law enforcement. But Miss Wallace, they're scared now. Truly scared. They thought they could bully the system and it would fold. Instead, it's holding them accountable. I should feel triumphant. Instead, I feel exhausted. My father will never admit he was wrong. He doesn't have to, Patricia says quietly. The record speaks for itself. My mother's email arrives on a Thursday evening. The subject line reads, "Please read, from Mom." I stare at it for 10 minutes before opening it. The message is long, rambling, filled with phrases like family healing and moving forward and forgive and forget. But buried in the middle is the real message. Your father and I have discussed this with Amanda. We understand we moved too quickly. We should have had a proper conversation with you first. We're willing to compromise. Not the penthouse, we see that's too much. But perhaps a loan? Something structured that helps Amanda without leaving you feeling taken advantage of? We're still a family. We can work through this together. I read it twice. The apology that isn't an apology. The acknowledgement that doesn't actually acknowledge wrongdoing. The compromise that still asks for my money. At the bottom, almost as an afterthought, Amanda is willing to sign a repayment agreement. She's getting help, seeing a financial counselor. She wants to do better. But she needs this one last help to get stable. Please consider it. We're your family, that has to mean something. I forward the email to Patricia without responding. She replies within an hour. This is admission of intent. Save everything. I close my laptop and pour myself wine. The city glitters below my windows. My home, my sanctuary. The place they tried to steal. I write one sentence in reply, no. Then I block my mother's email address. The blocking happens methodically over the next week. Phone numbers, email addresses, social media accounts. I remove every avenue they have to reach me. My uncle tries to play intermediary. I block him too. My cousin sends a message saying I'm being extreme. Blocked. The family group chat explodes with messages about forgiveness and grudges and what our grandfather would have wanted. I leave the group. Patricia handles all legal communication. The hospital knows not to transfer calls from anyone with my last name unless it's a verified emergency. My address is unlisted. My building has security. For the first time in my adult life, I am completely, entirely unreachable to my family. The silence is disorienting at first. I keep expecting the phone to ring, expecting the guilt to crash over me, expecting to cave like I always have. But days pass, then weeks. The silence becomes comfortable. I work, I sleep, I eat meals on my balcony without checking my phone every 5 minutes. I read books without the background anxiety of waiting for the next crisis. I exist without being someone's solution. 1 month after blocking them all, I walk through my penthouse and realize it finally feels like mine. Not a temporary shelter. Not a prize they could take. Mine. The final message comes through a method I didn't anticipate. A letter left at my building's front desk. The doorman hands it to me apologetically. "Someone dropped this off for you. Said it was urgent family matter." The envelope is cream-colored, expensive. My mother's stationery. I consider throwing it away unopened. Instead, I take it upstairs and leave it on my counter for 3 days. When I finally open it, the letter inside is handwritten. My mother's perfect cursive. "My dear daughter, I write this as a mother who has lost her way. Your father and I have spent weeks reflecting on our actions, and we see now how we hurt you. We see how we took advantage of your generous nature. We see how we failed you as parents. Amanda is filing for bankruptcy. It will destroy her credit, her future, but it is the consequence of her choices. We should have let her face those consequences long ago instead of turning to you. We were wrong. Deeply, painfully wrong. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect you to welcome us back into your life. I only ask that you know we are sorry, truly sorry, and we will not contact you again unless you wish it. With love and regret, Mom." I read it 3 times, looking for the manipulation, the hidden ask, the tactical guilt, but it's just an apology. Maybe genuine, maybe not. I'll never know for sure. I fold the letter and put it in a drawer. I don't respond. Patricia's final call comes on a Tuesday morning. "The property lock is now permanent in the system," she explains. "Your penthouse title has additional protection flags that will require your physical presence and biometric verification for any future transfer attempts." Biometric? Fingerprint or facial recognition at the recorder's office. It's the highest level of protection available, short of a trust structure. I absorb this. My home is untouchable now. Completely, legally, permanently, mine. The fraud investigation has concluded, Patricia continues. The state board issued a formal reprimand and a fine. No criminal charges were filed because this was considered a first offense and a family matter. Part of me expected more consequences, but mostly, I'm relieved it's over. Your parents have been advised that any future contact must go through legal channels. They've acknowledged this in writing. So it's done, I say. It's done. Patricia confirms. The property is secure. The legal boundaries are established. You're protected. We end the call. I stand in my living room, sunlight streaming through the windows, and feel something I haven't felt in years. Not just safety. Not just relief. Peace, the kind that comes from knowing I chose myself. From knowing I set a boundary and enforced it. From knowing I survived my family's worst and came out intact. The family gatherings stop entirely after that. Thanksgiving passes without the usual guilt-laden invitation. Christmas comes and goes with nothing but a generic card from my aunt. My birthday in February passes silently. The absence is strange at first. I keep expecting the pull, the obligation, the familiar weight of family duty. But it doesn't come. Instead, I have dinner with colleagues from the hospital. I take a weekend trip to the coast alone, and actually relax. I start dating someone who doesn't know my family history. I exist as just myself, not the responsible daughter. Not the family emergency fund, just me. My apartment fills with plants because I finally have time to care for them. I buy art for my walls. I host a dinner party. Small things that felt impossible when I was constantly braced for the next family crisis. One evening, I run into my cousin at a coffee shop. We make awkward eye contact. She hesitates, then approaches. "How are you?" she asks carefully. "I'm good," I say, and mean it. She nods. "I'm glad." We don't discuss the family. We don't rehash what happened. We just exist in that moment. 2 people who used to be close. Then she leaves, and I finish my coffee in peace. 6 months after the property lock became permanent, I walk through my penthouse on a quiet Sunday morning. Coffee in hand, bare feet on hardwood, sunlight making patterns on the walls. Everything is exactly as I left it. No one has tried to access it, claim it, or take it from me. The security isn't just legal anymore. It's emotional. I've rebuilt my sense of self in this space. The girl who always said yes, who always rescued, who always sacrificed, doesn't live here anymore. This version of me knows her worth, knows her boundaries, knows that love without respect isn't love at all. My phone stays silent most days now. Not because I'm isolated, but because I've built a life of chosen connections. The quiet isn't lonely. It's intentional. I think about my sister sometimes. Wonder if bankruptcy taught her anything, if she's actually getting help. But I don't wonder enough to reach out. I think about my parents too. Whether they actually meant that apology, whether they've accepted their role in what happened. But again, not enough to break my silence. The penthouse around me isn't just expensive real estate anymore. It's proof that I survived. Proof that boundaries work. Proof that choosing yourself isn't selfish. The real victory wasn't the property lock, though that saved me. It wasn't the legal documentation, though that protected me. It wasn't even watching my family face consequences, though that validated me. The real victory was simpler and more profound. It was learning that I could say no and survive what came after. That I could disappoint people who claimed to love me and still be okay. That I could choose my peace over their expectations. My penthouse still stands, 41 floors above the city, with windows that catch the sunrise and a door that locks from the inside. But more importantly, I still stand. Stronger, clearer, and finally free from the weight of being everyone's solution. Sometimes love means sacrifice. Sometimes it means showing up when it's hard. But sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is protect yourself from people who see you as a resource instead of a person. My family taught me what I didn't want to be. The property lock taught me I could enforce my boundaries. But the real lesson came in the quiet months after. I am not my family's emergency fund. I am not the backup plan. I am simply myself, standing in my home, living my life, at peace. The penthouse still stands, so do I.